Well, one of the first projects that I've got going for today is to take this old cabinet that Lauren was working on and finish cutting out the side of it so that it becomes a rabbit cabinet. I didn't know what a rabbit cabinet was either, so if you've never heard of that, basically it's just a place to hide the litter box. She's gonna have a little divider in here, right here. Litter box is right there. The rabbits are hopping around her room, and when they need to use the bathroom, they jump inside there and they get in the litter box. The other side of it, there'll be a divider right here, and the other side will be storage, probably for fresh hay. It's one of the things that's on her list. I've got a little bit of time on my hands today because we got the tractor fixed yesterday, woohoo! And I am going to be working on this. What I've got on the side here, I'm just cutting it out. You can see how it was originally put together with just a piece of wood going across there. It had about 5 or 6 screws holding it into these little pieces. These are tongue and groove. There's a groove down at the bottom, a groove at the top. They're held together, tongue and groove, and it makes up a solid panel. And I am cutting those away and creating a space here. I've got glue on the back of this piece of plywood that I've put in. I'm creating a space for the rabbits to be able to get in. And I'm just taking my time cutting right now because I wasn't sure exactly how it was put together, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't bust it apart or do anything bad to it. I'm actually going to be taking this one out also, but I wanted to make sure that I could cut it out and make it look neat, so I did a test cut on this one. Now that I've been able to get this one out and it looks pretty good, I'm going to carefully cut this one, try to get a little bit of a better cut to it, and then we'll sand it down and make it look good once I get the whole thing out of there. Well, what have we here today? Ecoflow sent me a solar generator, and I am pretty jazzed about it because if you've watched the channel, you've seen us talk about being on the grid, but right at the tip of the grid. Power is pretty good, but it's not always reliable, especially in storm situations in the winter, and I welcome the opportunity to try out some of these products that'll help us become a little more self-sufficient over time. The packaging on this thing is pretty cool. In the box, you have your cables, manual, and this beautiful, sleek, big honkin'. This is the Ecoflow Delta 2 Max. Now, I am matching this to what I think is probably slightly undersized for this size of generator. This is an Ecoflow 160 watt solar panel. If I can get it out of the box. It's a box in a box. I am matching it to this 160 watt solar panel from Ecoflow. A little case to carry it around in. This is the set of Ecoflow panels. First thing I did was charge it up. It was drawing 1600 watts from the wall outlet. And it went from about 25% to fully charged in around an hour. Mayhem. It is 87 degrees today. Jafana is trying to organize our Connex. I call this the store. This is where I go when I need something, when I need a part, or I need some oil, or I need lubricant, or some nails, or anything like that. We've got all of our stuff, all of our tools up on here, and we need to be able to get to them. You can see we've got all the stuff. We've acquired too much stuff because we were operating out of a couple different places. When you're living in one place and you've got a house that you're building in another place, you end up buying more stuff than you would if you were in one spot. Now that we're in one spot, we're trying to consolidate and figure out what we need to get rid of. We've taken a lot of trips to Goodwill. We've thrown a lot of stuff up on community boards and sold stuff on Craigslist, on Marketplace. Habitat for Humanity has definitely profited from some of the things we've gotten rid of. We've taken truckloads and trailer loads of stuff. Now we're trying to see what it is that we have and how we can consolidate it so that when we need something, we actually know if we have it. Being 87 degrees, I hauled this Delta 2 Max down here, and I am using it to power a fan. Now, it took about an hour to charge from 28 to 100%. We've had it running for about 10 minutes, and we're cranking some air in here so that we don't sweat to death. Yeah, it's a little hot. Not only is it a good test of the Ecoflow Max 2, it's also damn nice to have.
It's making me less cranky.
If it's making her less cranky, it's really nice to have. Now the way these leaves are blowing, it looks like we might have a storm coming in, and that would be a blessing because we have not gotten any rain for more than a week. So we got a little bit of rain going on right now. This is ridiculous. I cannot believe the amount of water in the backyard. This is nuts.
We have no signal.
For this.
So that was our movie night.
This was our first movie night since we moved in. The rain was so intense that it blocked out the signal from our Starlink internet service. Eventually, the rain subsided and the signal returned long enough for us to finish the movie. And then the power went out. The rain passed, and as the storm began to move away from us, it gave us the most spectacular lightning storm that we've seen in years, and it lasted more than half an hour. For most people, an overnight power outage is a mere inconvenience, but we have necessary medical equipment that needs to be run and charged during the night. This can mean starting up a gas-powered generator, running extension cords into the house and across the floor. But since we'd been testing out the Ecoflow, it was already in the house and we were able to use it instead. And because of the different plugs and its large capacity, we took advantage of that to charge up our phones and our laptops, and we settled in and watched the storm as we drifted off to sleep. The power was back on. Hey, welcome back. We've got something cool that we're doing today. I've got this Ventrac 4500Z, and when we got it about almost 2 years ago, the seat was pretty aged. There was some tears in it, and so when I bought it, I ordered a new seat. That seat took about about 4 months to come in. When it finally came in, I sat it to the side because we were too busy with everything else trying to get it into the house. We're here now, and I'm trying to upgrade some things and fix some things, and since it's Father's Day and I get to do what I want to do today, I want to get this thing fixed up. I haven't even looked at this thing yet. I just cut the tape on the box 5 minutes ago, walked in the house and got the camera. And this thing is not light. That is a beast. Okay. First thing I got to do is get the old one off of here. I'm trying to cut this without cutting myself. I got a history. Yeah. The knife's trying to do all kinds of stuff. There we go. That's cut. This is a safety mechanism that turns the Ventrac off if you stand up while the blades are turning, or while the parking brake is off. Alright, so this plate comes off. Yeah, well, there we go. Got these washers right here. Hang on to those in case I need those. Put that up on the porch for Jafana. She'll love having that junked out old car seat up there. I've got my Ecoflow Delta 2 Max over here powering up this tank, and I didn't think this thing was going to run it at first because it is a fairly sizable tank, and you can see I am not babying this thing at all. They asked me to test it out. I'm testing it out. Right now it's got 73% battery. I have been running this thing for a couple of days, using it for different chores. We were doing some organization down in the Connex, and Jafana had the fan in there running because it's well over 80 degrees in the middle of the day, and we're using that. And last night I was out here doing some work and I was using the tank, and I was pretty impressed. Not thinking that thing is drawing over 1,200 watts. Now, I really was doubtful that this thing was going to be able to run that compressor. Very impressed when I saw that it was up cranking out over 1,500 watts and it was doing it. I was even more impressed, and this opens up a lot of really good things for us, because usually if we want to do anything, it's either swinging a hammer at a nail, old school. If you want to use a pneumatic nailer, you've got to put a 3,000 watt generator in the back of the truck. That thing weighs about 140 pounds, so it's a lot of fun. You get it up there, you got to gas it, you got to keep track of changing the oil on the thing. It's more wear and tear on that generator. I'd much rather save that generator for when I really need it and not have to hoist it up on the truck or in the back of the side-by-side. Being able to throw this Ecoflow up there, either in the truck or on the back of the side-by-side, and go out and do a fencing job or do something with that. And from the amount of energy that thing used yesterday, I think I could get out there and run that for about 4 hours of work, not have a problem. Goes up and down. That's nice. There we go. Yep, that lines up. Oh my goodness, that thing is stout. Let's lift this up. Got this on here. I've got it where I want it to be. I've got to push it back though, because I can't sit that far forward. That's nice. Now we've got a little fitted tarp that goes over top of this mower. We're definitely gonna have to get more conscientious about putting it on here. 2 reasons. One, this seat is almost $700. That's a lot of money, but it fits, it's made to fit, and it's supposed to have really good suspension to absorb some of the bumps, and we ain't got nothing but rocks and bumps out here, so looking forward to that. The second one is, this thing is hot as fire in this sunlight. It's dark black and it absorbs the heat. Woohoo, look at that. That's pretty cushy. In fact, I might even bottom out. And what's really cool about the seat is it's adjustable. It's gonna put that little arrow there. That arrow is supposed to be in the middle. So since I'm a little heavier, I need to adjust this to put it in the middle and then fasten it back down. When Jafana gets on it, she'll just push it downward and it'll put the arrow in the middle, and that way you've got the proper amount of suspension so that if you go over a big bump, you don't bottom out and hurt your butt. These things happen. The only thing left to do now is fire this baby up and cut. Completely different seat.
Oh, that is so nice. My gosh, how comfortable is it?
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, babe. It's really
Jump
good.
on there. I'll show you how to use it.
Okay. Wait, there's a thing to use in the seat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jump up and down a little bit. It's a suspension seat.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Oh, that's comfy.
Now look down. You see where the leveler is? The level should be right in the middle for you.
Okay.
Open it up.
Yeah.
Pull upward or go downward.
Oh, got ya.
Then just lock it back in.
It's very fancy. Well, what does the level do? Just kind of like, so your legs aren't...
So you don't bottom out. It's based on your body weight. So you don't bottom out when you hit a bump. And if it's too tight, then you're not going to get any suspension from it. It's going to be real hard. And you can adjust the level of this seat. There's a fine tuning here, so you roll this so if you need it a little more down so it's not interfering with you being able to turn the wheel.
So nice. Just gotta clean the wheel.
Yeah, gotta clean a lot of things.
But yeah.
It's got a lumbar adjustment that I don't use, but you can do something at the bottom and
that feels good.
have it more at the top, but I pretty much have it right in the middle for me.
That's fancy. I like it. Oh wow, it is very cushy.
Well, not to be. Pliers, because this ain't happening. Don't you have a pair of pliers over there that you left out when you didn't put your tools away? Well, everything went so well with the Ventrac that I decided to do something else that I've been meaning to do for a while. I have not run the chipper in 2 years. All of my focus has been on the house. The only times I get out here and do anything is just to try and push the weeds back a little bit so that we've still got something left when we finally got moved in. It's hard to describe what this looked like after they logged the area. But on top of that hill is an area that is absolutely full of slash and pieces of trees that are left over from the logging. And I've been up there cutting with the Ventrac, but there's only so much I can do because I don't have the space. I have to go around stuff. I actually went up there with the excavator and picked things up and pushed them into the woods so I could have a trail to go back and forth. And what I want to do is get up there and see if I can't start creating some piles of wood chips. And I'm hoping this thing still works and that I don't have to do any heavy maintenance to it. Let's find out. it looks like something built a nest inside of it, and I figured that was probably going to happen. But I can hear it rolling. It's definitely going. So the blades are working. Now the question is, does that work? I need to get the proper switch for the hydraulics, but in the meantime, all right. It's definitely going, and it's going the right direction. The only problem with it is that switch isn't working right. When I pull on it, that should stop going. I gotta figure that out. There's always gonna be something. I'm gonna have to take that apart. A new switch costs over $1,000. I found the plans online for all the pieces that are inside that thing. So if I take it apart and figure out what's not working properly, I can probably buy the small pieces and put the thing back together for only a couple $100. We're working. I used a hammer to beat that rod in, and it worked. So the next thing to do is get up on that hill and see if I can actually make this work. That thing is heavy and clumsy, and this is a really steep hill that I'm getting ready to go up. So I want to try and get myself in a good position before I do this. It's doing it. I ain't digging it, but it's doing it. Coming down will be easy because that'll be behind me and it'll settle me in when I go down forward. But I made it, so that's all that really matters. Let's get this thing to start spinning. All right. You know what that is? That might give you an idea why I want to clear this area out just a little bit. Dual purpose, not just the goat. All righty. Some of this stuff is just too big or too gnarly to go in there, but there is a ton of stuff here. Literal ton of stuff that's just everywhere. And I can put it in the chipper and reduce that material quite a bit, and I'll be able to get around here and start pushing into the woods, get my electric fencing in there so we can put some goats out here and have the goats come in here and go to work on some of this stuff. Just take a look at this, because I'll probably be back at this tomorrow, and by the time I'm done, a lot of this stuff is going to be gone.